Hello everyone, welcome to the show. This week we have a role-playing game that has no combat in it, a space shooter that has no story in it, and a game where you get to play the bad guys. First up this week for the reviews, Dylan, you took a look at Corrupted, which is kind of a dual-stick arcade fighter. What is it?
It's kind of a cross between a dual-stick shooter, an RPG, a top-down action adventure game. There's kind of an element of your old-school beat-em-up in there. It's a really complex game, and I think when we previewed it before, you guys didn't like it very much.
The control scheme was a little wonky because I wanted to mash buttons. I didn't want to dual stick control.
And I kept trying to swing the sword manually side to side.
Yeah, and that I figured that went into that part into my review. It does actually have a lot of controls because you've got your melee attacks, you've got your ranged attacks, you've got corruption attacks, which allow you to do some sort of crowd control. Basically, you can apply frost damage or fire damage. It's kind of light on story, and it's kind of linear. You're playing as a knight that has been corrupted by this hooded fiend who wants you to go pillage the land and raid castles and steal princesses, from which he gains his power for some reason. I'll be honest, I didn't pay much attention to the story because I like the action.
Do you win by totally pillaging the land? I mean, is the world left aflame and then you're...
I want the dude at the top of the castle saying, ha 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 ha, at the end. Does he do this?
There is sort of a twist.
With a twist?
Yes.
Oh dear.
So you have to play the other side or something, or well, you don't want to get into it.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but
so on Corrupted, what was the final verdict?
Try.
Final verdict is try.
I really liked it. I thought it was particularly well balanced because you can go back and play previous stages to level up. But I took into the account that the control scheme is kind of difficult, and so it's not really for everybody. But if you like the kind of game, either the dual stick shooter or RPG elements, it's definitely a buy.
All right, so that is Corrupted, and review is up on the site. It is a try from Dylan. The next game we have is our role-playing game this week, Lights In. Cecily, you had some fun not being a pacifist, I guess.
Fun in quotes.
Yeah, I like role-playing games. I like Japanese role-playing games. I like games where, even though the character is whiny, you get to go out and beat crap up, and that makes everything fine, because I get to take out my angst on the angst of the character on everybody else in the screen. So, if you play as, I call him the Jesus Wisp, because you're the spark child of the divine, the creator, the one who created everything.
Well, couldn't you be the Holy Ghost? I mean...
No, you're called...
Have to be Jesus Wisp.
You're called my child the entire time. So you are the son. You are not the Father, you are not the Holy Ghost, you are the Son. And so Jesus Wisp goes out and inhabits the one I would call Mary. Her name is Crystal, but she will be called Mary from here out. And Mary goes, and she's angst-ridden for all... I mean, she makes most JRPG characters look like they would be like military dictators. I'm just one angst about my father, angst about this, angst about that, and anytime it brings up something real, it ignores it later. And so it's like, I thought there were so many times where I thought the angst was going to have a real reason behind it. And the only reason behind any of this is I'm going to save the world. But they don't even know they're going to save the world because only the Jesus Wisp knows that it's trying to save the world or kill it. The Jesus Wisp must make the decision.
So, since there's no combat in the game, how did the puzzling hold up?
Okay, you can control anybody in the game. Anybody. Any normal NPC, you can go out and have them talk to everybody else and get a stock answer. But only certain characters will actually progress the storyline, and sometimes you have to infer, and sometimes you just have to try random characters, because somebody I thought was an NPC actually turned out to be the person I needed to use to talk to somebody else. And you can't talk in the wrong order, because you can have the two right people, but the wrong person talks to the other one and it won't progress the story. So then you have to switch the things, find out where the dude resets, and talk to him at the proper point. And there's one time where I just spent like 20 minutes talking to the same character again and again and again, and I wanted to stab him.
Alright, so final verdict.
Pass. You can beat this in 3 hours if you really want to, but you don't.
Okay, so that's Lights In. Review's up on the website, and it is a pass from Ceci. My game that I played for this week was Solar Struggle Survival. There is a Solar Struggle already on the service. It was released a year and a half ago or so, and it is kind of a space epic. I haven't played it, but I kind of want to go back and check it out. Maybe it's kind of Wing Commander-ish, and the RPG elements mixed in with the space shooter. But Solar Struggle Survival is just the combat, nothing else, and it works wonderfully well. So the combat doesn't even, my favorite thing about it doesn't even take you out of the combat to upgrade. So you still get experience, kind of a holdover, I guess, from the role-playing version of the game. You get experience when you destroy ships, and you can spend that experience to upgrade your ship, but all you have to do to get into the menu to do that is just click the thumbstick, your radio menu comes up, you spend your experience, you click the thumbstick, you're back in the action again. You can do this at any time, and it doesn't really ever take you out of the flow of the game. So you never really feel like you have a set cutscene between missions. You don't have any level up menus, to encounter when you hit a certain number of experience, you level up, and that kind of stops it. You just non-stop action, even from wave to boss fight. I mean, it just goes wave, boss fight, ships just keep coming at you. It's kind of a high-scoring shooter in that respect, and I'm not one to be a fan of high-scoring shooters when that's the game mechanic. That's what the point of the game is just to try to top your high score. How long can you go? So I don't play that game for this reason, but I completely found myself sucked into this game and not caring about high score, just to fight through the waves that get you there. It took me a considerable number of times to play through to beat the game. And to get through all the waves, you're looking at a 30 to 45 minute playthrough. So each playthrough, 30 to 45 minutes, you'll probably, if you get into this game, play through it a lot. It has achievements to unlock. It has other ship types you can unlock and upgrade, and the achievements tie into, win the game with this ship type, rack up a score multiplier of a certain level, and, go a certain amount of time, or a certain number of levels through the game and complete the game and get various score marks for the achievements. So I might go back and even pick up a couple more achievements. Those motivate me more than the score. But on the whole, I really enjoyed this game. So Solar Struggle gets a buy from me. That review is up on the website, and you can go check it out now. Alright, it's time for our top 5 games of the week. This week was a little bit more discussion than last week. We didn't have any super major, crazy great game lists like some of our weeks in the past. We had a list of solid B students, I would say.
Yeah, no A students, no, oh my god, you are dunce.
I think we have a few dunces on there, but they'll be on the podcast. Those will be on the podcast. We'll run down those with the full list. But starting off the top 5, we have Hypercube Arcade. It is in the classic section, $1, and this is a kind of a party game, maybe. I guess you'd say it's kind of a mini game collection. But the 2 mini games you can play in it in the trial, one is a collection of balls, and you try to be the first one to get to the bottom to knock the others off the top. And then the other mini game, which I found that one good, but I found the other mini game much better. Was kind of a territorial control game where you your ball rolls over territory squares, and as long as nobody rolls over them in a certain amount of time, you claim them. Playing it solo, playing it single player, it seemed really fun.
The AI is smart, intelligent. It's not dumb AI.
No, but it was. You could kind of figure out some tricks to it and then consistently beat it. So, and this is the kind of game that you wanted to play with friends. So when we came to record the video here, we all logged in and found a massive showstopper on this game.
Fail.
Yeah, it happened twice. We played it 2 separate times where...
we had all 3 of us the first time, and then you and Mike the second time.
Where towards the end of the game, it would just slow down.
Something spun off crazy on this game that caused the frame rate to drop to where just bringing up the guide menu and getting the Xbox guide menu to respond was taking forever. And it happened even with just 2 players. So we had it with 3, but it happened with 2. So this kind of saves me the effort, because I think I was going to review this game, and I would have found that out late in the review cycle, like, okay, let me get some people and play the multiplayer just so I can, for completeness, review this game. But now I guess it's saved me the $1 because that would have been a fail. It would have been a pass. I couldn't... This game is made for multiplayer, and the multiplayer does not work. So the next game we have up on our list is Time Slip. It is a platformer, 80 points as well. And you play the braid slug.
Sort of.
Your braid is a slug. Reincarnation has taken hold.
Well,
the braid man is paying for his sins against his wife or girlfriend or whatever was going on there.
He was a stalker.
Yes. And he is now a slug, but has retained his time travel powers.
It's not really his powers now. It's more that happens to him naturally.
Yeah, it doesn't have as many powers as Braid. It kind of has the one trick, I guess.
He's a one-trick pony.
Yes, so the idea is that you're playing the slug, and at set intervals, a new instance, a new thread of time will start, and it'll start from the beginning, so you'll see yourself playing again, and the catch is you cannot cross the streams, as it were. You cannot... see yourself or interact with yourself, Back to the Future style there.
Yeah.
You have to be very, very careful of that, and, which will reset the game. The resetting the game, and in particular, the time sequence of letting you know a new thread has started, is very jarring.
Yeah.
It's excessive,
takes you out of the action.
And it almost gives you a headache, when it pops up and reminds you of Hypnotoad to
It's that
obey.
same black and white swirly that you get off of one of those tops you get out of a cereal box.
Distracting.
Very.
It is, but this looks like it could be an interesting platform. So
Yeah,
it may have some
definitely.
charm to it. Next we have Ninja 360 Degrees, and it is platformer. It's another $1 game, and kind of simple with a cool kind of mechanic about it.
Yeah, it's kind of your basic platformer. You can jump around, you can actually climb walls and float and do a bunch of things like that.
But you're a ninja, you can wall walk, and if the surface is curved enough, you can actually go and become the opposite side.
Yeah, so you get to change, you get to rotate the world to your perspective, depending upon how you run around the world, jump. It looks like you're just trying to collect coins, though. There's no enemies, there's no creatures.
Not that we've seen.
It could get tiring as it goes on. It could wear out its welcome.
Yeah.
Depends on what the level design gets like, and if it becomes more puzzly. Because it seemed very straightforward to me. Like, there's a lot of levels I grabbed all the coins, and
If you don't collect enough medals, you can't progress. And then it gives you an equation chart of how many of what you need to equal opening the next stage.
Yeah, there were some hints that it is going to get more puzzly. There were some levels that if you went the wrong direction, you just couldn't complete it. You'd fall off the edge of the world, hit a bunch of spikes, and die.
Next one we have up is Battle High San Bruno, and this is a fighting game, and yes, it is a fighting game. It is a straight-up 2D old
Street Fighter. Yep.
Street Fighter. You know, I'm not one for these type of games, but I watched you both go at it here. You were kind of going back and forth as to who was going to review this game. It seemed to be pretty authentic. And it looks like, Ceci, you might have lost that review. Yeah, it looks like you lost the rights on doing a review on that. Although you were saved by the bell. You didn't actually get the defeat knockout.
Yeah.
There was no finish her move pop up.
No, but there was definitely a fist flying towards my face.
Well, the controls are really tight, which is important for a fighting game. It's got your complete move list that you can access during gameplay, which is helpful, which is kind of standard in fighting games now. It really reminds me of Street Fighter with there's a combo counter added in that you didn't have in Street Fighter 2, yeah. And that has your super meter, which each character has one super move that they can do.
One or two. It looks like some of them have seemed like more, because there's a super kick this one dude did, and then it looked like a palette swap of him did a sink into the ground and then come up from it, but it was the same dude.
Okay, I don't know, I never ran into that.
Oh, and it looks like there's characters to unlock too, so there may be more involved, higher level characters to go through with. So the last game we have for our top 5 this week is Bird Assassin. Shooter 80 points, and birds done killed your paw. That's the story. That's the background.
Shot his head clean off.
Shot it clean off, and head on down to the gun mart and get yourself some guns and shoot some birds. This game surprised me. This game, from what I expected it to be, given the on-glut of anything zombie, anything headshot-ish, you know, just sniper zombies, sniper sausages, you know, I'm getting tired of that mechanic, and that's what this looked like it was going to be. But it turned out to be this kind of somewhere blend between side-scrolling platformer and dual-stick shooter. Yeah, what's the kind of thing? But it seems like it'll get interesting. So, like in the end of the second level, the birds take your truck and chase you. You know.
I like how when he got to where his truck was supposed to be, it's like, I thought I remember parking right here.
So I mean, if that continues through, it could be a really interesting, you know, game if it varies up and the levels don't get repetitious on there. The bonus levels are also quite interesting because you can grab the Gatling gun in one and just waste as many birds as you can in the shortest amount of time with the gun. And then there's another Mario-style coin collect. So it definitely had more to it than I first thought when I looked at it.
It's not really trying to be a standard dual-stick shooter. When you move your aim, it takes a little time for him to readjust the angle of the gun, which is interesting. Like, you'll notice on the video that I was not really accurate when we were recording these.
At least you don't have to worry about a bullet count.
Oh, that's true. But
it feels like it's a good gameplay balance decision rather than a knock on the controls. Like, that's balancing your ability to be able to hit all the birds.
You can't just go in and mow down all the birds. You know, it actually will be a challenge.
Okay, so that brings us to our Game of the Week deliberations, and I would recommend Bird Assassin, but I am not a good player or fan of fighting games, so I almost have to recuse myself from being able to vote this week because one of the games looks good, but even the best I've not enjoyed.
Well, fighting games are kind of love it or hate it.
No, I have fond memories of just me and my brothers beating on each other for hours with them.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been none of them. Not Street Fighter. The original Mortal Kombat I played for a little bit. I didn't go into Mortal Kombat 2. I didn't even play Super Smash Brothers. So, I mean, none of those there. But are you both both in unison and agreement there for Battle High?
Yeah.
Okay, so Battle High San Bruno is our game of the week. Congratulations. We will go down all of the games released this week on our podcast. You can jump over to GameMarx.com and check that out. You can also find it in iTunes and Zoom. Just search for GameMarx. Thank you everyone for watching the show.